Welcome. My name is Markus Wesaw, and I have put together a presentation entitled ISNetworld, Why You Need It, What They Really Do, and Benefits to Your Company. The aim of this particular presentation is to provide a survey or basic orientation to the functions of ISNetworld as it relates to your organization. So that being stated, I hope to answer a few frequently asked questions and to introduce any individual not familiar with ISNetworld to some of the basic benefits and services of ISNetworld. My contact information is listed on the screen, so if any of you feel the need to contact me about this presentation or any other questions that you might have, feel free to do so. So why do you need an ISNetworld account? What is the account? Well, ISNetworld requires that subcontractors, vendors, or suppliers who are going to work with the 300 plus hiring clients or owner clients as they were referred to in the past to have a subscription account with ISNetworld. So let's say my company is a supplier and we provide a product used by the energy sector, and several of our business relationships involve the ISNetworld subscription account. What we would do, for example, is let's say we're working with Noble Energy and ConocoPhillips. We want to do business with Conoco and Noble because maybe that's our lifeline, or maybe that's a good chance for some contractual revenue. But as part of that business relationship, we have to maintain an ISNetworld subscription account. So that's where the requirement is derived from. So as a major function of ISNetworld, what a lot of people don't understand is that it is a contractual thing most of the time. And what I mean by that is, in order to get a master service agreement or a contract, a lot of times a company's got to have this ISNetworld subscription account either before they get set up or during the process of acquiring the MSA or contract. So if you are looking for a particular contract opportunity, another good avenue for you is to get an ISNetworld account even before it's required, and then try to reach out to the more than 300 hiring clients that are willing to provide an opportunity to you if there is one. So one of the things that I kind of like to inform everyone is the subscription account process and compliance process can be frustrating for some individuals. And this isn't anything against ISNetworld per se, but what it is so many people are not keeping OSHA 300 logs correctly, for example. Many organizations don't even know what an experience modification rating is, or EMR letter. A lot of companies don't maintain effective safety programs, or they don't do safety training. So the list goes on and on and on. So what I have found in my experience is that the more frustrated a company is, the less prepared in general they are in terms of safety management. So the companies that tend to maintain high standards of safety with effective safety programs, a good safety document or safety manual that's consistently amended and updated as needed, and a few other things in terms of maintaining high standards of safety. The most important point of suggestion that I can give any organization is to utilize ISNetworld as a learning process. And don't think that safety management occurs overnight. You have to put in a lot of effort, and this effort will eventually pay off. So to answer the question why an organization would need ISNetworld, it's quite simple. You probably are looking to get contractual revenue from one of the organizations called hiring clients, and we used to call them owner clients, but you're probably looking at getting a contract or source of revenue from a company that's involved with ISNetworld and requires that all its vendors, suppliers, and subcontractors maintain an effective subscription account with ISNetworld. So what does ISNetworld really do for a company? Let's kind of delve into that. ISNetworld is an organization that kind of maintains this third-party approach. So it is a middleman organization. And so let's take that example again of ConocoPhillips. So let's say my company, ABC Inc., wants to work for ConocoPhillips, and we sell, let's say we sell pipeline flanges and pipes and things of that nature. And we really want to increase our revenue streams by working with Conoco. They have a need for it. We can supply that product to them, and it's a mutual benefit to both companies. Well, if you can imagine how many different organizations ConocoPhillips subcontracts with in terms of the amount of subcontractors, suppliers, and vendors. So if you can think about that, Conoco wants to make sure that all its subcontractors, vendors, and suppliers have valid insurance, and that they all have current OSHA 300 logs, and that they have safety manuals and training, and the list goes on and on. Imagine if Conoco utilizes services and products of only 20,000 different companies, which is probably a lot more than that. Think about the number of certificates of insurance and the number of OSHA 300 logs. That can really bog an organization down. It slows down the process, and think about how inefficient that is. Well, enter in ISNetworld and problem solved. They're just one of probably 5 or so top safety management organizations that provide this review and verification service. So what the service is of ISNetworld is that they are going to collect the documentation from ABC Inc. and they're going to make sure that it's good and that it meets the requirements. When it does, they report that to Conoco, and they give Conoco the green light saying these requirements have been met. And then you may proceed with providing your product to ConocoPhillips. And then when things change, like certificates of insurance change and safety programs and requirements change because of evolving regulations. So those are just numerous things that are going to have to be managed over time. And ISNetworld just collects the documentation that you submit, they review it, and that's pretty much it. So again, I don't want you to get frustrated or overwhelmed, because most of this kind of requirement is going to stem from regulatory standards and mandates. So ISNetworld hasn't really just created all this out of thin air. I mean, if you have 10 or more employees, you're supposed to have OSHA 300 logs anyway. It's just typically employers don't maintain things like that until somebody tells them to. So a couple other things that I want to go over with you. And that is, make sure the documents that you submit for review within ISNetworld are legitimate. We have dealt with some cases where people wanted to, lie on certain things to manipulate OSHA 300 logs, or I've even seen people try, or I've heard of instances where people will kind of forge certificates of insurance. Basically, they have a COI that they haven't paid the bill on it, but they still have the COI, and they're trying to get that passed. That's a really, really big no-no. I highly discourage you from doing that, because a lot of these companies do perform safety audits, and I'm sure that the staff at ISN would report anything they find amiss or awry to the owner clients or hiring clients that you're working with. So please maintain the highest standards of integrity, and be worried about making sure everything's precise and accurate, because this is a big deal. A lot of it's legal, a lot of it is regulatory. So keep that in mind. Not saying that everybody does that, but it does happen. Okay, so let's move on to the benefits of ISNetworld to your company. So one of the major benefits that I find ISNetworld brings to the table is they actually help organizations improve in many respects. For example, companies who have never really evaluated trends in injuries, we call those lagging indicators in safety management terms or vernacular. So, for example, let's say we have a company that consistently has 10 to 15 injuries a year. One of the things that ISNetworld reports is the types of those injuries. Are they getting worse? Are they getting more severe? So you can learn from the metrics that they provide. You can actually enhance your company's profitability by addressing some of these issues. So the other big benefit is that ISNetworld puts all the hiring clients right there on the front page of their website. So just click to view all, and you can go through the list of the more than 300 organizations that utilize ISNetworld services from a hiring client perspective. So let's say I'm a small company, maybe I'm 2-3 years old, and I'm looking for opportunities. I want more revenue. I want to hire more individuals. I have a quality product, a quality service, and I really want to get that out to the market, and I want these products and services to be utilized. One of the endeavors that your company can take from a marketing perspective is to reach out to these organizations. Talk to their master service agreement or contract coordinators and see if there's a need for your product or service, and reach out to them. Often you'll find one of their questions during this process is, do you have an ISNetworld account? And if the answer is yes, they can easily look your company up by your ISN ID number and see if they want to pursue that a little bit more in depth. A lot of times they will. So keep that in mind. Okay. One of the major points that I really have to make here from an ethical standpoint is, although ISNetworld does promote higher standards of safety, ISNetworld and the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, are two very different things. Okay, OSHA is a United States Department of Labor enforcement agency, and ISNetworld is a third-party for-profit organization that reviews and verifies certain information. So let's take a good example here. Let's say ISNetworld requires your company to submit 10 safety program manuals. Okay, maybe one of those is hazard communication. Well, that program is not necessarily compliant with OSHA. A lot of people will say, well, it's based on OSHA standards, but not all of them. So that's a very important point that every company needs to make and be aware of, because OSHA is its own animal and they will enforce all things OSHA, and they really don't concern themselves with what ISNetworld is telling you, because that's more of a different business arrangement, whereas OSHA is truly going to be geared towards employee health and safety. So ISNetworld compliance does not equal OSHA compliance. So please keep that in mind. I sincerely hope that the information we covered in this presentation is of use to you and that you find it beneficial. So let's go ahead and review why having an ISN or ISNetworld account is beneficial. Okay. First of all, it can help you with marketing, and it can help you get additional contracts, but only with the 300 or so owner clients or hiring clients that utilize ISNetworld for verification services and other related purposes. So a question that I get a lot is, well, should I just get an ISNetworld account anyway and hope to make a connection via contract or MSA later with these organizations? And that's fine. If your company has the budget for it, remember that ISNetworld is going to require a fee for the subscription service. So One of the things that I've noticed many companies do is they wait until it's required, or they wait until a contract is going to be put in place before doing it. So either solution could work. It just depends on what's best for your organization. So part of that should be in your strategic planning and business model process. Okay. Another question that I get is whether or not I need a safety management consultant, and the answer to that is no. You can get a consultant's help if you'd like. I do recommend that you seek out some professionals and go through several different sources. My contact information is listed on the screen. If you'd like to talk to me about some consulting work, that might be something we could arrange. But other than that, you do not need to do it. It's not an absolute requirement. But in some cases, organizations find it beneficial. In other cases, they're perfectly content handling all of that ISNetworld safety management work in-house. Okay. So again, what ISNetworld is going to do is they're going to take information that you submit to the organization, and they're going to either, upon review, pass or fail that documentation, and that's going to be determined based on whether or not the standards or requirements have been met or not. Okay. And finally, the benefits to having an ISNetworld account are many. Many people find it a good marketing tool, planning tool, and others are just, they're just content having the account because it satisfies their contract arrangement. So probably the major benefit that I would say is that it does help you get better if you look at the reports and actually answer things truthfully and know where your deficiencies are, know where your areas of improvement are within your organization, and work on phasing those things in slowly, the best you can. One of the things that I like to also tell everyone that listens to these presentations in closing is that MW Consulting LLC is not affiliated or endorsed by ISNetworld, and that we are our own company that provides safety management consulting services. So if you need information specifically from ISNetworld, you may call them at 1-800-976-1303. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or call me directly. It was a pleasure, and thank you very much.